This is one of the most polarizing discussions going on in Final Fantasy XIV right now. I think I know my side, but I want to talk about the Relic weapon today. Hello everyone, I am Jmulls, and in patch 7.2.5, the Occult Crescent came out. The latest in the series of content in the style of Eureka and Bozja, and I am in two minds about it on the whole. There's parts of it that I absolutely love and adore, and there's other elements that make me tired and annoyed by the content, and I think the biggest element that is leading to my feeling of disdain for this content is the Relic weapon. The big questline and grind you undergo while doing the Occult Crescent, or also just random fates in the world, but who does that? All in the service of fulfilling said grind to unlock a really cool weapon that you'll be able to upgrade over the course of the expansion. The first step brings back the idea of Demiatma, where within the confines of the Occult Crescent, or you can just go do fates elsewhere, but for the Occult Crescent, you have a chance to acquire a Demiatma whenever you complete a fate or critical encounter. The specific type of Demiatma that you acquire is dependent upon the region that you complete the content in. And whenever you do a fate or a critical encounter, you have a small chance to acquire that Demiatma. For the first stage of the Relic weapon, you need to get 3 Demiatma of 6 different varieties. It sounds simple enough, and this is also a Relic step that we have seen before, but just because we have seen it before, I do not view that to be necessarily a good thing, or to make it a good thing. I find this grind to be entirely boring, dull, derivative, and honestly, poison for the rest of this content, at least in my eyes and my perspective. I want to preface everything I'm about to say. I can only speak for how I feel about the Relic weapon, how I feel about the Occult Crescent. I can't make any grandiose statements about what is necessarily right for anyone else but my own opinion. However, speaking of my perspective, I have disliked this Relic grind so much that the moment I get the one Relic weapon that visually appeals to me, that being Warrior, I have no interest in ever interfacing with the Occult Crescent until we get a new zone. Maybe new Phantom jobs just to see how they play. But this grind has made me rather sick of the Occult Crescent and the design changes they have done in comparison to Bozja. Let me explain. The biggest issue that I have with the Relic grind right now, with the Demiatma specifically, and I know it's only a one-time grind, but making me do something that I dislike once does not make it good. The problem I have with the Demiatma grind is the acquisition method, because it's like almost to a stage where I would actually not mind it. I might even find it enjoyable, but it's the lack of a pity system or the lack of a trade that completely ruins this system for me. The overall flow of the Occult Crescent is that you go from one critical engagement to the next while doing fates in between, assuming you get there in time. So if you only need one type of Demiatma, hi by the way, this is me right now, you only need to complete content in one specific region. However, unless you want to miss out on all the rewards, including Phantom Job XP, Pot Fates, Silver Acquisition, and all that stuff, unless you want to miss out on all of that to simply grind in the one spot and then hope and pray you get a fate or a critical encounter spawn in that specific region for a low % chance to even get the Demiatma that you specifically need, chances are you're going to go about the map doing a whole bunch of different activities repeatedly, again and again and again and again, and if RNG is not on your side, you can end up in a position like where I'm at and where others are also at, where you have accrued more than is needed of the Demiatma for various different variants. I have numerous 4 stacks of Demiatma, I only need 3 of each stack, but I have 0 of the 6th variety that I actually need to acquire my Relic weapon. And it has rendered the Occult Crescent into a mindless, boring slog of a grind fest, where I'm not enjoying the content that I'm doing because it's the same old content ad nauseum, where I'm just hoping that fates and critical encounters spawn in the region that I need, and then that I actually get the thing I need from there. It's just the type of grind that I am personally not receptive to. I view it to be a waste of my time, and every time that I play the Occult Crescent to further my grind, whether that be for Phantom jobs, and always for my Relic weapon, I leave the zone at the end of my play session dissatisfied and disappointed that I wasted my time doing that as opposed to playing anything else, including other elements of Final Fantasy XIV. And it has taken a piece of content that I did genuinely enjoy on release, that being the Occult Crescent. I enjoy the actual critical engagements themselves, but because of the reward structure, because of the actual design specifics that have gone into the Occult Crescent, this content has quickly soured for me. I don't think it also helps that I think fates are woefully unimaginative within the Occult Crescent. Where's the charm? Where's the imagination? Where are the varying objectives? Why have we had this reversion in fate design to where they're just worse critical encounters now that have tuning that is so bad that if your instance is at any point remotely populated, these things fall within the span of like 30 seconds. So it's more a rush to actually get there and to tag the fate as opposed to engaging in meaningful and interesting content. And I talked about this before. I really like the idea and the mechanism behind phantom jobs. I love the idea of subclasses. I love the idea of being able to swap them out to get a nice little bit of customization and variance in my play kit. I really like that. I can't say that I've enjoyed particularly any of the phantom jobs that much. The mechanics behind the specific phantom jobs we have access to right now, at least that I have access to, I find to be woefully dull and uninteresting. The closest a phantom job has come to actually being fun to me has been like arguably Cannoneer, just because it's really funny to summon a giant cannon and to spam that stuff. And maybe Oracle on occasion, but not even like in a big way. Just like, that's alright. For me, I do not mind a long grind, especially in an MMORPG, especially in a game that has needed a reason to continually play it for a while now. It's something that Dawntrail has been severely lacking of. However, if you're going to ask me to grind for a long time, in my opinion, the gameplay mechanics behind that grind need to be fun and interesting enough to warrant that time investment, to make me excited to try out various things during that grind, to make that time worth it. But design functionality like the Relic weapon feels to me like it appeals to those wanting an excuse to play instead of a reason to play. When I get my final Demiatma, when that eventually happens, I'm not going to be excited. I'm not going to be over the top, pumping my fist in the air going, that was a great experience I just had. I'm going to go, oh my god, finally, I don't have to do this again. At no point in this experience has it been remotely engaging, fun, or exciting for me. And for me has only been a reason to start to dislike the Occult Crescent conceptually, because it forces me to interface with the Occult Crescent in a way that I don't find enjoyable. And also it highlights the worst elements of the Occult Crescent for me. Why would I want a gold farm? None of the rewards actually appeal to me from that. Why wouldn't I just spend more time when I'm in there grinding fates and critical engagements, specifically in the regions that I need, or now the regen, to get my Demiatma to get my Relic weapon, all the while grinding the silver that I need to acquire the piece of gear that benefits me within the confines of the Occult Crescent. I understand not a lot of people were thrilled or excited by the Mandeville Relic weapons of Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker, because they were just a tombstone collectathon, and yeah, that is drab, that is uninteresting, and that is also boring. You won't hear any argument from me in regards to this. However, I don't think this is any better. Instead of being one mindless, boring grind, it's just another mindless, boring grind. It's a lateral move instead of either a progression or a regression. But I did say earlier that I don't think the current system is far off from a place that I would actually enjoy. I think just the game needs options. And for a game that has been rather famous for giving players numerous ways to interface and to achieve whatever they want, I view this Relic weapon in particular to be rather disappointing. Why not allow me to also use tombstones to acquire the specific Demiatma that I need? Or, if I get extra Demiatma, because I only need 3 of a type, if I get more than that, let me trade them in for the specific kind that I need. I would say let it be 1 for 1, but if for some reason you don't want that to happen, I guess, then make it say I have to trade in 2 extras for the 1 that I need. That way, the extras that I get don't make me feel bad for acquiring them. They don't leave me with a sense of disappointment and annoyance. I feel like I'm always gearing up, or at least going towards an objective and a goal, but I don't feel that here. It's so RNG reliant, and I don't find that to be particularly interesting or appealing. I really enjoy the actual critical encounters within the Occult Crescent. They're really fun, they're varied, and I quite like them. Even the ones that I didn't particularly enjoy out of the gate, I kind of have come around to. It's just they're being let down because of, 1, how uninteresting the fates are, how dull and repetitious the mechanics of the world have become now for me with the Occult Crescent, and this rancid flavor that is now engulfed not only the fates but also the critical encounters because I'm just hoping they spawn in the right spot and then I actually get the Demiatma that I need. And if I don't get it, I don't feel accomplished when I complete one of these objectives. I just feel disappointed. And I'm tired of every time I do something in Cold Crescent, I walk away just feeling disappointed or let down. Where the biggest high I'm able to accomplish in terms of the feeling I am able to get out of this, the best case scenario is just a sense of relief. Not excitement, not joy, just basic relief. Finally, I'm a little bit closer to my goal. I think in a lot of ways, the Occult Crescent embodies a lot of the problems Final Fantasy XIV has had, design-wise, for the longest time. Playing it way too safe, way too close to the chest, without taking sufficient risks, and when they take those risks, they're surrounded by design that is also way too safe to allow those design ideas to really blossom and to have some actually dang good execution. I really enjoy the idea of phantom jobs, but my god, the specific mechanics you get out of them are woefully dull and uninteresting, especially when you compare them to the old Lost Actions. Yeah, sure, Lost Actions had their own problem because they were consumable, right? I know I, for one, didn't want to use them, I didn't want to waste them. So in terms of overall structure, I'll take phantom jobs any day of the week. But, like, of the ones, at least, that I have access to right now, they aren't fun or interesting to a sufficient degree to make this grind varied enough and fun enough to feel worth it. On top of all of that, like I said from the beginning, not allowing leveling in this zone is a moronic decision. I don't care that Eureka didn't let you level in here, Bosja did, and it was better for it. And not allowing leveling here, to me, is a short-sighted mistake. At least, I wouldn't feel this sense of overall disappointment that I feel every time I do anything in the Occult Crescent, because at least in the back of my mind I could be going, well, I got some XP for my job, I'm making some kind of progress here that's going to have some long-term effect for me in a meaningful way. Or just outside of, I'm leveling a phantom job I'm not having fun with. Now, I know this video is about the Relic weapon specifically, but I want to just reiterate, it is grinding for this Relic weapon that has really drove home these issues that I have personally with the Occult Crescent, and it's made them far more noticeable and sour to me. I don't see what is supposed to be fun, exciting, or interesting about the Demiatma system. I don't. It's a concept that just simply eludes me, and I think they know this as well. You want to know how I know? It's because your character has a PTSD moment when the concept is first brought up in the quest line. I don't mind having some RNG, but have some deterministic element alongside it. Having so many layers of RNG throughout the Occult Crescent, it's just too much to me, and it makes it feel overly grindy and time-paddy, and has made the Occult Crescent, in my opinion, arguably the biggest disappointment when it comes to Dawntrail, and that's saying something. The fight design is cool, and they have talked about taking more risks before Dawntrail even came out in regards to the fight design of Dawntrail. Cool, sure. Final Fantasy XIV should take risks. Far too often when it comes to the modern state of Final Fantasy XIV, and even for a while now, it feels like they strive to meet the minimum expectations instead of striving for greater heights. Why must this game so often feel as if it's playing itself so safe as humanly possible at all times instead of trying to be better? I think one of the reasons I'm so disappointed when it comes to the Relic weapon system is because, like I said before, it's so close to being decent for me, to being passable, to being a pro instead of a con, and a massive con at that. Just let me trade in the excess Demiatma that I have for the ones that I need, or let me turn in tomestones for specific Demiatma that I need. Why not give me the option? Because with the current implementation, it feels like it's not designed to be fun, engaging, or rewarding. It feels like it's designed simply to pad out time and give you an excuse to play until the implementation of the Deep Dungeon, instead of a reason to play, instead of having a desire to play. That's my biggest issue with it. And with that, I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, have a great day, go play some video games if you can, and as always, leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on the Relic weapon. Do you like it? Do you hate it? I would love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your opinions and to hear your perspectives. Stay safe, have a great day. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody. Until we meet again.